It's official. Joe Burrow suffered a turf toe injury on Sunday against Jacksonville. We're going to break down how severe this injury is and how much time Joe Burrow is going to be looking at missing for the 2025 season and how the Bengals can continue forward in their goal of reaching the playoffs. Welcome to the jungle. This is Zac Coffman with Bengals Digest. Happy to see you Bengals fans despite this tough news that has come out officially today. But if you want to be up to date, be sure you smash that subscribe button so you'll see when all of our latest and greatest videos come out. You'll be up to date on all things Bengals. So Zac Taylor held a press conference today, officially confirming what reports were telling us, that Joe Burrow had suffered a turf toe injury. And you might be saying, what is a turf toe injury? It has to do with the under part of your toe. There was a doctor that was actually on, they revealed about how it is underneath of your foot where it can actually have torn ligaments. And that is precisely what happened with Joe Burrow. Unfortunately, happened on play midway through the game. It didn't look great. As a Bengals fan, when you're watching that, you knew there was just something off. Burrow is usually one to get up. He has shown toughness at times, but unfortunately, this was one he did not get up right away. Trainers had to come out to help him. He went into the blue tent to be evaluated. While the game was going on, there were shots of him going to the locker room, being helped by the trainers. So it's just unfortunate. It's just a bummer because the Bengals, the good news of all this is they're 2-0. They were able to come back and beat the Jacksonville Jaguars despite being down the whole game until 18 seconds left. It was such an exciting game. That's the dark cloud that's kind of hanging over this, is the uncertainty. But that's the official word that has been coming out, is that Joe Burrow is going to be missing some time. He will need surgery. It was a grade 3, which from reports, I'm not a doctor. I'm not one to say, this or that, but it's not good. Grade 3 means it's probably at its worst that you can be at. Initial reports were if he did not need surgery, it was more about maybe the 2-4 around that area weeks. And that's not good either, but compared to what we're looking at, if he does get surgery, that is confirmed he will need surgery. It's looking about 3 months. That's what Adam Schefter came out to say, that if he does get surgery, minimum 3 months. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's a gut punch, because here we are 2 games in. This is early into the season. You were hoping that it wouldn't be most of the season where maybe he could rejoin if it was a significant injury. If it wasn't that 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a month, 3 months, that's going to put them close to playoffs if they are going to be able to make the playoffs. So the hope is you're gonna see him possibly return. My concern with turf toe, one player that had it in the past was AJ Green, and it felt like he wasn't the same after that. And that's not to say that's going to happen with Burrow, but it does stick in the back of your mind. Just because they come back after 3 months, they're going to have surgery. How much is he going to be himself after that? Is he going to be fully recovered, so to say, coming back from that injury? You try to focus on the positive here. Again, they are 2-0, and it's just a tough situation. It's just so tough. It's just like you were hoping for the best news. This is probably the worst case scenario, hearing that he had turf toe. So Burrow's going to have that surgery. Zac Taylor again met with the press today. This is what he had to say concerning that surgery, though. He said, we'll get the surgery date nailed down if he's going to do that and move forward with all the information we have. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a trainer. I think there's reasons why it wouldn't be done at this moment. There's a couple-day process there of how they have to sort that. I'm sure Joe would love to do it at the earliest point. We'll continue to work through that. And I agree. I think it's tough for Burrow. He has been through these types of situations before, unfortunately. We think about his rookie season where he was out with the ACL. That was just an awful situation. And he had the wrist injury. That was where Jake Browning stepped in and was playing the rest of the year. That was 7 games that Jake Browning, we'll come back to Jake Browning, but it's been a rough career for Joe Burrow. And I know a lot of people are pointing at the offensive line, and it hasn't been great. That has to be a part of the equation. The Bengals are going to have to figure this out, whether that is a scheme problem, whether that's telling Burrow to hold the ball for too long, whether that's a coaching problem, whether that's the actual players in-house. The Bengals are going to have to figure this out because Burrow getting injured, that's possibly just the tip of the iceberg of problems they're going to have down the road. Is Jake Browning going to be in danger of possibly some kind of injury because of all the hits? Because we were seeing it all through preseason even, that Burrow was getting hit. There was concern there of they need to get that figured out. I do think, again, I go back to Burrow does hold the ball longer. It could be a Joe Burrow thing. It could be the play calling. I personally think that to take pressure off Burrow, there should be more screen passes. There should be more of those quarterback draws. He likes to go in the shotgun. That's another thing to consider is Burrow has been very strong about wanting to do shotgun formations. Is that something they consider? I don't know. It's just questions that are going to be coming up in these situations. When you see these unfortunate injuries that come up, you're going to be questioning why and what if. What if this happens? What if this goes on? But the important thing is they've got Jake Browning, and he's one player that has shown he can step in the role. He did it Sunday. Again, we are 2-0. The Bengals are 2-0 because of that game-winning drive from Jake Browning. And we think about Jake Browning in 2023, he stepped in because Burrow missed the last 7 games of the season. What people forget is that Browning led the NFL with a 70.4% completion rate. So Jake Browning, is he going to be the most elite quarterback you've ever seen? I don't know, but you're at the same time going to get a quarterback that can win you games. Sunday should be proof enough that this guy can go out there and he can ball out. I mean, he's got the talent around him. He was interviewed afterwards on Sunday, and he said as much. He said, you got to get your playmakers the ball. He recognizes that Chase, you have arguably the best wide receiver in the league. You have T. Higgins. You have Andre Yosavash. And now Mitch Tinsley. He is coming on, making that catch. I mean, he's got so many weapons. He recognizes that. So is this a matter of if Burrow is going to be out for the 3 months, Browning is able to still, regardless of that, lead them to the playoffs? It remains to be seen. He did go during that stretch, the 7 games, he threw 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and went on a stretch of 4-3. They just, at this point, get to the playoffs and anything can happen. That's been the case every year. That's for every single team. The goal is get to the playoffs in one way or the other. You'd love to get to the division, love to get that number 1 seed. Just get that for more time for Burrow to recover, to come back, if that's what the game plan is. But not everything is going to always work out that way. And one more thing that Taylor was talking about, he did kind of defend the offensive line a little bit, because I go back to that is kind of the focus. Everybody's shifting focus to offensive line. I'm not going to defend the offensive line. I certainly believe it needs to improve. Something needs to. One way or the other, whatever is causing so much pressure, because whether it's Burrow, whether it's Browning, there was pressure there on Sunday. But he went on to say this about the offensive line. He said, the offensive line always takes all the blame for it. I can't control what a lot of people think. I don't know what a toe rehab looks like. I know Joe's going to give it everything he's got. He's going to do everything he can to get onto the field. I have full confidence on that. So in summary, again, it's a tough situation, but we've seen Joe Burrow come back from pretty serious injuries. You got to believe he's going to be focused on getting rehabbed and back. 3 months is just, it's not good news. It's not good no matter what you think about it, but you know Joe Burrow is going to do everything in his power to get back on the field, and we can just hope that Jake Browning, he can go out there and perform. He's got the weapons to do it. Again, it's just a matter of, can the defense help him out like they did with the forced turnovers on Sunday? There's a lot to get excited about this team. It's a bummer. You know, there's no sugarcoating losing your franchise quarterback for 3 months, but the sky's not falling yet. We just got to stay tuned, see what kind of plan the Bengals have going forward, and just hope for the best on getting at least some kind of playoff berth where Joe Burrow can come back. So what do you guys think? Not the news we wanted to hear, but what do you think of this Bengals team going forward? Do they still have good chances with the playoffs, even without Burrow? Do you think he's going to come back better than ever, or are there concerns there? We'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line down below. And again, if you have not already, smash that subscribe so you'll be all up to date when all of our new videos drop. So that's going to do it for now, guys. As we say, Huda.